In the headlines, December 2020 is named as the date to have St. Jude up and running, but Minister Guy Joseph is skeptical.
The Ministry of Health, our counterparts, moving in to ensure that we can have a functioning hospital that hopefully can open to the public by Christmas.
Coach Cassie Moore is laid to rest following a large turnout for an emotional farewell service at the Mindo Phillip Park. And the National Workers Union wants to know where is the money as NHC members complain of non-payment of salaries. The details of these stories and more are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Loveless and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Monday, the 27th of January, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We're on Flow Channel 117. The broadcast is also being simulcast on Kiss FM Radio. You can watch via our website. It's www.caribbeanhottv.com or on our free Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm lovely Saint Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. The dead bodies of Thorn, Ashtray, Sylvain, and Garvin Rand Willie were discovered in Bogus, Babuno on Saturday. Residents reported hearing multiple gunshots late Friday. A firearm is said to have been recovered from the scene. The details surrounding the incident are still emerging, but a police investigation is underway. In other news, as one member of the Department of Economic Development reveals plans to have the St. Jude Hospital up and running by December 2020, the Minister with responsibility for economic development, Guy Joseph, expresses slight apprehension, calling the date given ambitious. However, he says should the task be completed at the stated time, it will be a record breaker. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
The local media were given a first-hand look at some of the work plans of one of the busiest ministries to be presented to the island's Prime Minister in the process of the annual budget preparation. Speaking on behalf of the Department of Economic Development was the Permanent Secretary, Claudius Emmanuel, who gave a presentation of some of the major initiatives and projects that they have been engaging in for the new year, including the St. Jude Hospital Reconstruction Project. It was during this presentation that Emmanuel made this revelation.
We anticipate that by November 2020, there will be a handing over or transition with the Ministry of Health, our counterparts, moving in to ensure that we can have a functioning hospital that hopefully can open to the public by Christmas 2020.
Moments after the presentation, the minister with responsibility for the department, Guy Joseph, expressed mixed feelings about the dates given in the announcement.
I know the project of concern, and I note what the PS said, but I want to assure you, the timelines given for us for construction of St. Jude is 18 to 24 months. And I see a very ambitious December on the cards. And that is what the department that is responsible, we have Mr. Edison Henry, who's part of the project for St. Jude, spearheaded by the PS. And sometimes people think that it's just ministers who drive projects and make things happen. We have a good team in the Ministry of Economic Development. And while we get resistance from other areas, sometimes the team is working very hard for a timely delivery of this project.
With that said, Joseph went on to say that the date stated is not impossible to achieve, and should it be done, it would go down in local history.
According to the architect who designed the project, they said minimum time 18 to 24 months. So if we deliver ahead of that, we would be way ahead of the delivery on that project of any other project that has been executed in this country previous to that St. Jude project.
Joseph said he is looking forward to working with the team to accomplish their goal. However, he will also be taking into consideration what the architects and the contractors are able to deliver in a timely manner to give them what they require. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
Eulogized as a coaching giant and a legend in his Marshall community, Cassius Glasgow, known affectionately as Coach Cassie Boom, was laid to rest following a moving burial ceremony at the Mindo Phillip Park. Scores of people turned out to bid farewell to a sports enthusiast and community leader who gave much of his life in service to uplift the youth of Castries through sports. Cassius Glasgow, known as Coach Cassie Boom, who was killed inside his house, was laid to rest on Saturday at the Mindo Phillip Park. Tears were shed for the father, brother, uncle, coach, mentor, and friend that so many were robbed of.
While many children shied away from hard work, Cassius embraced it. He was always willing to lend a hand in chores around the family home and stepping up as a baker in the family business from time to time.
MP for Castries East Philip J. Pierre addressed the many youth who Coach Cassie Boom mentored throughout the years. He says while they mourn his untimely death and grieve for the void that has been created in their lives, they are also charged with the responsibility to ensure that the legacy of Coach Cassie Boom stands the test of time.
The best way to remember Cassius is if you are guided by the principles of discipline and hard work that he wanted you to do. Try to be the best. Try to have the discipline and the commitment that he had for your sport, for your life. And if you do that, I'm sure where Cassius is, he will rest in peace. And he will smile. He will smile at your success, because that is what he always wanted to do. He always wanted you to be successful.
Minister Fortuna Belrose also addressed the gathered crowd and reiterated that Coach Cassie Boom left an indelible mark on his community, rising to the occasion when many chose to do nothing to help change the course of life for many young people.
Whether you're a footballer, a parent, a sports person, an ordinary citizen, a politician, you must acknowledge that Cassie Boom was ever present and playing his part in keeping his community stable. He was the magnet, the cement, the glue that banded the youth of this community together.
The family of Cassius Glasgow continues to demand justice for their murdered loved one. The police have made progress in the case with the arrest of a suspect. The ethics of the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority is being called into question by both the Department of Economic Development and the Minister for Economic Development. Rochelle Gonzalez tells us more in this report.
The Department for Economic Development has expressed concerns over the operations of the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, saying they are in the process of reviewing their relationship with ECA and are also in the process of exploring all other possibilities of realigning themselves to a civil aviation authority that will better respond to the needs of St. Lucia. During a Monday morning press conference, Permanent Secretary in the Department of Economic Development, Claudius Emmanuel, said the authority simply does not meet their requirements.
The issue with ECA is the fact that the level of representation from them has not met with our requirements in terms of St. Lucia being or receiving the sort of quality representation that we believe that we deserve as a member of ECA. And so we have concerns in terms of the ability of that organization to represent us at the level of clarity and really taking into consideration advancing our interests as a sovereign country.
Adding to Emmanuel's statement, Economic Development Minister Guy Joseph said the authority is in fact placing a strain on the nation's reputation.
While we have not received all the official communication, our understanding from what is happening is that we have been downgraded from a Category 1 to a Category 2, which has implications for airlines coming to St. Lucia. When you are category 2, it has implications for the cost of the insurance of the airlines coming here. So while St. Lucia is on a growth path, as far as you'd see the number of airlines coming, the number of stayover visitors, and all of that, ECA continues to operate in a manner as if it is a power and an entity of itself.
Joseph said ECA is not considering that they are acting on behalf of the state, which still retains its rights. He said there is a current push to get other nations to join in on the fight to replace the authority.
We've been trying to convene a meeting of all ministers of civil aviation within the OECS, which is part of ECA, to see if at that level, as ministers of civil aviation, we can deal or get an update. Because I will not speculate on the reasons for the downgrade, but the only, when I look at what is there, you would have to fail some basic tests, whether it be security, safety, or something, to be downgraded. And because ECA is downgraded, every country under ECA is downgraded.
Joseph said this issue has been long-standing and the matter was addressed some time ago, long before the talks of the downgrade. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
An industrial row seems to be brewing between the St. Lucia National Housing Corporation, NHC, and the National Workers Union, NWU. Employees of the St. Lucia National Housing Corporation made a disclosure to their union that they have not received their salaries for the month of January 2020. The NWU says it undertook an investigation and noted with interest that monies were paid to board members who did work for the NHC. The union disclosed that it has been seeking an audience with those in authority without success. It says it will be monitoring the situation carefully and will soon decide the way forward. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, Nina Compton says thanks but no thanks to the government and its Goodwill Ambassador offer. The Agriculture Minister tries to explain the banana fiasco that has left farmers reeling from losses, and coronavirus-related deaths continue to rise. That and more coming up after the break.